focused and fearless. Here's everything you need to know this rush hour of June 13, Thursday. I'm Riza Diaz. Let's jumpstart today's rush with a Chinese vessel hitting an anchored Filipino fishing boat in the West Philippine Sea. Reports say the Chinese fishing vessel sank the Filipino-owned FB Gimver and sailed away without rescuing the 22 fishermen crying for help. Defense Secretary Delphine Lorenzana denounced the actions of the Chinese vessel and thanked the Vietnamese fishing boat for bringing the Filipino crew to safety. Lorenzana also called for a formal investigation on the incident and for the diplomatic steps to be taken to prevent it from happening again. Meanwhile, Bayan Muna Party List is calling for joint patrols with Vietnam and other claimants of the areas in the South China Sea to prevent quote, further aggression from China. Senator Ping Lacson says we don't treat friends that way. He's also calling for a leader-to-leader talk between President Duterte and Xi Jinping. Senator Kiko Pangilinan is now urging the government to reverse its subservience and appeasement policy and to file a diplomatic protest against China. Meanwhile, outgoing Senator J.V. Ejercito took his thoughts to Twitter. Ejercito questioned the need for the diplomatic ties with China and even joked about some Chinese who cut lines. But while most of the senators condemned the Chinese vessel for not helping the Filipino crew, Senate President Tito Soto believes that the sinking was just an accident. Malacanang has already issued a statement on the matter and pointed out that regardless of the nature or conflict, the Chinese vessel should have helped the distressed Filipino crew. The palace is now calling on Chinese authorities to probe the collision and impose sanctions to the Chinese crew. A truly independent nation, that's what President Duterte is aiming for as he led Independence Day riots in Lanao del Sur. Jenny Dongon has the story.
Same as before, President Rodrigo Duterte came a few hours late to the Independence Day riots in Malabang, Lanao del Sur on Wednesday. He was joined by some of his cabinet members and the 16th Infantry Battalion in celebrating the country's 121st Day of Independence. Unfortunately, there was no longer any chance to hold flag raising ceremonies after rain greeted the president's arrival in the province. Nevertheless, Duterte paid tribute to the country's past patriots who have laid their lives on the line in the name of freedom and democracy.
It was here in Malabang, Lanao del Sur, that then acting President Chief Justice Jose Abad Santos was executed by the Japanese for refusing to cooperate with them during the invasion of the Philippines.
Duterte also thanked the modern-day heroes that continue to uphold democratic institutions and fight to solve the country's present problems. He also issued a statement calling for a truly independent Philippines.
On behalf of the grateful nation, I thank the brave men and women of the Redskin Battalion for your bravery, selflessness, service, and conditional love of country. Your valor has indeed earned you a place among the valiant heroes who built this nation 124 years ago. And while the noble heroes of the past faced the might of colonial powers, this time we face the modern problems of poverty, corruption, environment degradation, terrorism, criminality, and illegal drugs.
Duterte also called on Muslims and Christians to maintain peace and share resources.
Let us work together so we may preserve this gift of liberty that all our children deserve to inherit.
And with the recent ratification of Bangsamoro Organic Law, Duterte urged the Moros to take advantage of resources at Liguasan Marsh.
Now that you have the BOL, I guarantee you, exploit your resources. Madaliin na ninyo. Yung sabi ninyong Liguasan Mars, walang makialam yan. Inyo yan. Exploit the natural resources and make the Moro rich. Nasa inyo na eh. Ang sinasabi ko, walang disturbo.
For News 5, I am Jenny Dongon, PR1 News.
Barely days after authorities stated that Kapa Ministry is in no way a religious group, members trooped to Quezon City Memorial Circle to hold a prayer rally. Kapa has been tagged in masterminding one of the biggest investment scams in the country, but its leaders say their only agenda is in ensuring additional means of income for Filipinos to get out of poverty. Thousands of Kapa members from Luzon wore white in last night's rally and expressed support for their leader, Pastor Joel Apolinario, who now is facing large-scale estafa charges along with other Kapa incorporators. Now the group also appealed to its members to file the necessary complaints if they feel they have been cheated off their investments. The dialysis center tagged in today's PhilHealth Ghost Claims mess have now ceased operations. This comes after the clinic's owner, Brian C., has been put under NBI custody for investigations. Marlene Alcaide has the report.
Cerilia Lagasca undergoes dialysis twice a week at the Welma Dialysis Center in Novaliches, Quezon City. It is just a few blocks away from her home. Now, she has to find another dialysis center after WellMed ceased operations due to the so-called ghost dialysis scam that has rocked PhilHealth.
Masamang loob. Siyempre, malapit lang naman kami, kailangan namin. Ngayon, mapapalayo another gastos. Oo, sana mag-open uli kasi yun ang the best news para sa amin, malapit, convenient kami. Tapos, mababa yung presyo.
Magkano po ba dyan?
Kasi yung inaano sa amin sa dialyzer, pag may PWD ID ka, 1.3 na lang yung 1.8. Di ba malaking discount?
So 1.8 sa kanila, 1.2. Sa iba po, magkano?
2 plus.
WellMed owner Brian Christopher C. is now detained at the NBI, along with his two former employees, Edwin Roberto and Lizelle Santos. They face charges for estafa and falsification of public documents, where PhilHealth serves as the complainant. But the whistleblower's legal counsel, Attorney Harry Roque, insists that PhilHealth should also file charges against its employees involved in the scheme.
So PhilHealth, kung gusto niyong paniwalaan kayo ng taong bayan na seryoso kayo, nahabulin itong mga nangingikil, nagtotongpat sa taong bayan, kasuhan nyo yung mga sarili nyo kasama sa loob ng PhilHealth. Hindi po kami naniniwala na santo kayo dyan.
PhilHealth said the agency has started its own investigation and will file necessary charges against employees proven to be involved in the scam. Meanwhile, former Health Secretary Janet Garin says ghost dialysis claims at the PhilHealth really exist. Garin says there are also ghost patients in other PhilHealth packages like cataract treatments. She said she immediately stopped paying institutions involved in ghost claims during her time in the health department. Garin said she also submitted a report about ghost patients to her successor, Secretary Pauline Ubial. But she said her efforts at reforms were to no avail because of what she referred to as a mafia within PhilHealth.
Ang masakit dito ay yung fraud sa PhilHealth ay naging virus na po. It's a very difficult virus that has no cure, no treatment, and no prevention. Why? Because the fraud virus in PhilHealth always mutates whenever a new PhilHealth president, a new board, and a new Secretary of Health assumes office.
For News 5, Marlene Alcaide, we are One News.
We've got a follow-up on this from the dailies. The Philippine Star reports that PhilHealth President and CEO Ray Ferrer and 6 other officials have tendered their courtesy resignation. The resignations came amid accusations that the agency approved dialysis claims for non-existent and allegedly deceased patients. With this, Health Secretary Francisco Duque is now planning to seek advice from the World Bank and the Asian Development Bank on how to improve PhilHealth's accreditation system. From the Filipino Star ngayon, Comelec Commissioner Rowena Guanzon has ordered former Youth Commission Chairman Ronald Cardema to keep his mouth shut. That's because, according to Guanzon, Cardema's nomination case is now under trial with the Comelec. And ang pangmasa reports veteran actor Eddie Garcia's deteriorating condition. That's despite the medical attention that he has been receiving in the intensive care unit of the Makati Medical Center. Meanwhile, his stepson, Congressman Mikey Romero, is still asking for prayers and he is still believing that a miracle can happen. A 12-hour ordeal following her mistaken arrest has left journalist Fidelina Valle shaken but unbowed. And now, the Davao-based journalist is set to file charges against her arresting officers. Romy Lopez with the story.
Davao-based journalist Fidelina Margarita Valle couldn't help but show her emotions as she faced fellow practitioners Wednesday morning. The 61-year-old recounted her 12-hour ordeal after she was arrested by the police. She was nabbed last June 9 at the Laguindingan Airport in Misamis Oriental based on a warrant of arrest for murder, frustrated murder, damage to government property, and arson. She was later released and the police say it was a case of mistaken identity.
Umpisa pa lang, I asserted my rights. Pinakita ko yung aking IDs, lahat. Sinasabi ko sa kanila, hindi ako yung kriminal na yan kung sino man yan.
She said she feared for her life during the entire experience, especially during the 8 hours that she traveled with the arresting officers to Pagadian City and Zamboanga del Sur. The informant would later reveal that they had the wrong person. Valles Camp is now considering criminal and administrative charges against the arresting officers.
Mula doon sa airport na nagdemand talaga ako ng counsel, hindi sila nakikinig. Hanggang doon sa pinakadulo na.
Doon ko na alaman yung na-feel talaga yung bigat ng bibig ko na wala yung seriousness na nangyari.
The PNP meanwhile is conducting an investigation regarding the incident.
Well, kasalukuyan po ang investigasyon na sinasagawa ng pamunuan ng CIDG para malaman kung ano yung mga lapses at sino dapat ang managot dito sa pangyayaring ito. Definitely, marami po tayong natutunan ng mga lessons dito. Ang kailangan na gawing due diligence, no, sa ating pagganap sa ating tungkulin.
The CIDG and the PNP Region 9 have already apologized to the columnist and this was Valle's response.
Apology ng mukha niya. Sabihin mo sa kanya.
For News 5, Romel Lopez. We are One News.
While thousands flocked this year's Independence Day job fair, labor officials are appealing to nurses and construction workers to stay in the country. Gerald de la Peña will tell us more.
Thousands of job seekers flocked to the Independence Day job fair organized by the Labor Department in San Andres, Manila. They were vying for the 20,000 job openings from private companies here and abroad as well as from various government agencies. Various jobs were available such as in business process outsourcing, wholesale and retail trade, hotels and restaurants, and construction. But labor officials hope many Filipino workers will stay in the country, especially in its construction industry.
In fact, kailangan natin ng mga construction workers. May shortage nga tayo, kaya medyo nag-slow down kami sa deployment ng mga construction workers.
The Labor Department plans to do the same with the nurses who are now also on a shortage.
Ang pakiusap sa akin ng ating mga PNA officers slow down ang deployment ng mga nurses natin dahil kailangan din natin ng mga nurses dito.
Nurses like Myla, who volunteered at a government hospital just to gain experience, might have a hard time leaving for work abroad.
Kung merong opportunity na makikita ako sa abroad na pwede na akong qualified na ako, mas pipiliin ko yun sa abroad kasi mas mataas syempre yung sweldo.
Bello said he will ask the Department of Budget and Management to look at the salary increase for nurses working for public hospitals to encourage them to stay. The Labor Secretary has also made the plea to private hospitals.
I would like to take this occasion na makiusap ako sa mga hospital. Huwag nyo naman pagsamantalaan ng ating mga nurses. Dahil ang ginagawa ninyo, yung nurse, nakatapos na, nag-graduate na, board passer na, gusto magtrabaho para magkaroon ng enough experience para makapunta abroad. Ang ginagawa nyo, sila pa nagbabayad ng training fee instead of giving them their rightful salaries.
For News 5, Gerard de la Peña. We are One News.
Meanwhile, the Independence Day festivities ended with a bang. That's after the National Historical Commission decided to do away with the usual military parade and instead stage an Independence Day concert. Hundreds flocked to the Quirino Grandstand last night to watch the free show. The NHCP decided to hold a concert to encourage the youth to attend. Among those part of the lineup were bands Itchy Worms, Brass Pas Pas Pas, the Don, the Hernandez Brothers, Filipino folk group Contra Gapi, and Filipino singer-songwriter Joey Ayala. Organizers say this event was also a way to promote original Filipino music or OPM. Moving on now to today's weather. The southwest monsoon or habagat is here, but Pag-asa clarifies that the rainy season has not yet officially started. The monsoon is currently affecting the western section of Luzon. That's bringing scattered rain and thunderstorms over Ilocos region, Batanes group of islands, or Babuyan group of islands, Batanes, and of course Zambales and Bataan. Now the rest of the country, on the other hand, may only experience localized thunderstorms later today. And that's how the day is shaping up to be. Join us again next time for another round of Rush. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.